Greetings, greetings, family. We are live. Welcome, welcome to the Sister Shanice Show. We started 4 minutes late today. My sincere apologies. My other laptop decided that it wasn't going to allow me to have any microphone or camera, but my old faithful backup decided it was going to work for me. So welcome, welcome. As you can see, we've got Dr. Abu in the house. Rise up, Dr. Abu.
Give thanks, Empress. Give thanks, to Sister Sheila and Sister Najah, wonderful vibration, and yourself all the time, man. To all the family. Wolipa Vudum.
Wolipa Vudum. Back at you, Dr. Abu. Great to have you in the house. Queen Najah. Welcome, welcome. All the way from Kenya. How are you doing, my sis?
I'm doing very, very well, Sister Shanice. It's nice to see you again, and it's nice to be back on this show. It's also nice to see Dr. Abu, and it's wonderful to see Sheila Shabet.
Aye, great to have you again. Great, fantastic. And Sister Sheila, awesome to have you back in the house again as well. How are you doing?
I am very fine, thank you. It is an honor, and today is a full moon day. It's a day for completion, day for culmination, yes. Day for end. So it's quite a blessed day to have this show. I'm very grateful to be in the company of my people once again. It's indeed an honor. As Dr. Abu says, great vibrations. I give thanks.
Yes, great vibrations. Black at you, our Queen Sheila. Rising up, rising up, rising up. Everyone in the audience, want to thank you so much for logging on and for viewing. Please let us know where you're viewing us from. And, we look forward to your participation in the show today. And so, as we just wait for our family to log on, just to let you know that we are also expecting another guest on the show tonight. In fact, let me just check to see if he sent me a message at all. Maybe he's having difficulties getting on, but we are expecting our brother Abraham in the house today. So family, those of you who are viewing, how are you? How has the last strong been for you? Certainly hope that it has been a good one. So let's have a look. No messages. So we should be hearing from him. Let me just remind you, because of the time difference, sometimes, it's easy to get the times mixed up. Because, where I am, it's 7 o'clock, but I know where a lot of our viewers are, it's 8 p.m. at the moment. So let's see. We got Brother Colin in the house, and he's saying, greetings, Sister Shanice and the family. He's tuning in. Rise up, Brother Colin. Lady V is saying, greetings, sister and panel. Looking forward to an inspirational show. And she's blessing out the whole family. Rising you up too. Our sis. And also we've got Jojo in the house greeting us. Who else do we have in the house? Please do send us our greetings. Lady V is tuned in from the Gambia, rising yourself up. Have I got the lights on in here? Yeah, probably need to put a few more lights on soon. The sun is starting to go down, actually setting over the ocean there. I've actually move locations today and just enjoying another scenic view of the Gambia. Mama Africa is beautiful. Family back, there in the UKKK. It's beautiful out here. I can see Brother Abraham getting ready to join us there. Just allow him a moment or two to get his camera together, and then we will bring him on screen. So rise up, Joe Real, saying greetings to all. We've got Surfer in the house. I can see Errol in the background. Errol, make sure you're dressed. Hey, Errol. I can't see you. Sorry, family. I've turned the camera the other way. Anyway, he loves doing his walk-bys, Surfer, Budum back at you, rising up the three queens and the king in the house. We've got Sinovia in the house. Okay, looks like our brother Abraham is ready backstage. Let's bring him on. Rise up, brother Abraham. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing wonderful. How's everybody doing?
Oh, we're doing well too, my brother. Good to have you in the house.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Okay, Errol, that's you again. Sorry, family. So anyway, he's got some trousers on. He's got his shorts on as well to make it worse. Anyway, family, I think he's just aiming to distract me today.
That's good, man. That's good. Good backdrop.
So it's good to laugh, you know, it's good to laugh. Okay, let me see what I've got for you over here on my book. Let's bring in a quote from Marcus Garvey because it is African Liberation Day. And so, you know, this is a time when we remember our freedom fighters, our liberators, those who have fought the great fight for us as a people. So, you know, there's so many of our greats, isn't there? But let's rise up Marcus Mosiah Garvey. And he said at one point that if we as a people, where is it, were aware of our glorious past, then we would be inclined to respect ourselves more. And that's where we've got to start our history from our glorious past. And I say that because, you know, when we home in on the topic today, we're going to be homing in on a part of our history, you know, that has been, you know, part of our darkest times and our darkest days. But before we go there, let's remind ourselves of our glorious past. Let's remind ourselves of the fact that, you know, the Greeks actually learned at the feet of the Africans, because when the Greeks actually visited Africa, they found a continent that had empires, sphinxes, pyramids, kingdoms, you know, palaces, and, you know, our universities, we were mining, we were, you know, this is what they found, and they were in awe with what they saw back on the continent during that time. But as we know, you know, they came, they saw, they learned, and then they conquered and subdued, you know, and we're going to be homing in on. So can everyone make sure they've got their phone on mute? Getting feedback there. Thank you so much. And so, you know, we're going to be homing in on a time in our history that was, you know, part of our darkest days. And the sad reality is that those sad days of our enslavement are still very much with us today. And we want to highlight and we want to put the spotlight on what's going on in Egypt. And, you know, because I've only got an hour and a half left of my free package to do these shows, we're going to go straight in there. Let me introduce, first of all, Brother Abraham. Brother Abraham, please take yourself off mute. Please introduce yourself to the family. Let us know where you're from and tell us about the works that you're doing and why this work is so important.
Oh, yeah. First of all, I just want to thank you for giving me the platform to come over here and just share some of my experience and the things that I've been doing in my community. My name is Abraham Wanjala Arinyakono, and I'm from South Sudan. I was born during the Civil War, and all my life, I didn't even enjoy my country. So I had to, the family have to flee to Egypt. And we lived there for 5 years as a refugee, and it was very difficult because we've seen a lot, we experienced a lot. And finally, you know, they resettled us in America, specifically in Texas, Dallas, Texas. And I've been here for the past 18 years now. But my heart is always back home because my people is still back there. We're still going through a lot of issues, especially in my country. We have independence. We just had our independence 2011, July 9, which is coming up. But the situation is still unstable for so many people. So I decided that I need to do something just to bring my people together, because there's 64 different tribes in South Sudan, and most of them, they don't get along. So I started a non-profit organization here in Dallas, and it's called South Sudanese Outreach. So basically just reaching out to the community, trying to bring them together and also discuss some of the issues that our people in Egypt and all the refugees around the African continent, as far as like Ethiopia, Uganda, and Kenya. As we can see that nobody really speak about them like that. So I just want to highlight more on some of the things that the challenges that they faces. And so far it's been a good feedback from a lot of people that's supporting the cause, and we making a little noise, but I'm optimistic that a change is going to come. You know, I'm not scared of that. It's going to take time, but it will definitely come.
Ashe, my brother Abraham, you know, a change is going to come. Change is already here. Change is happening. And, you know, we're supporting you, my brother. We want to put a spotlight on what's going on in Egypt. We want to be highlighting, you know, the concerns and the suffering of our brothers and sisters over there. Let me go around the room, so to speak, and bring in some of our panel members who may want to just make some opening remarks before we actually home in on what's going on in that part of the world there, and what our brothers and sisters are actually suffering right now. Dr. Abu, let me bring you in first, my brother, for any opening remarks. Please take yourself off mute. One love.
I'll allow one of the Empress to go on first.
Rise up, Dr. Abu. Okay, let's go to the person on your left, our Sister Sheila. Sister Sheila, come in, my sis. Let's get some opening remarks from you regarding Egypt, or the topic that we're going to be discussing today.
Thank you. And I will start by saying that Dr. Abu is a real African man. We know that African men don't know how to treat women, yet we are the ones that taught the world how to uphold your woman. It is the African man that holds the woman up there. We did not have these feminist movements. We did not have this fighting for rights. We didn't, because our men had already put us there. So thank you. I will go fast, as I've been given that right by the man. When I've been coming to these shows for a while, and I've been watching the Sister Shanice show for a very long time. One thing that comes up all the time is the problems that Africa face, and we seem to have the same problem. Just the shows that I've been in, we've had problems in Chad and the surrounding countries. Niger was mentioned, and all these other countries. We've then had problems in Mozambique and the surrounding countries. Today, we're looking at Egypt, and Sudan has already been mentioned. Kenya has been mentioned, all this. So we seem to have similar problems in Africa, and it is Africans fighting other Africans. And when we look at this case of Egypt, for example, and Sudan, we know refugees are suffering in Egypt. And we know Sudan is at war. As Brother Abraham has said, 64 communities, they're not getting together. We always focus on the disharmony that we have, but we don't seem to mention who's causing the disharmony. It is like focusing on rape, and you say so-and-so is raped. So-and-so was raped, so-and-so was raped, the house was set on fire, but we're not saying who is causing this. It's kind of, you're protecting the perpetrator, the culprit. You know, but for as long as we focus on the victims, allow me to use the word victims, for as long as we focus on the victims and we don't mention whoever is at the heart of these problems, we're not going to find a solution. And you find the whole idea of always focusing on the victims as opposed to the culprits is a well-orchestrated game. It is a game that protects the perpetrator. So the perpetrator can keep doing what he's doing as we're focusing on the problems down here. So we're not really going to the root problem. And that is what we have to do as Africans. We have to now sit down and start saying, yes, the 64 nations, the 64 communities are fighting. What is the problem? Like right now, when we look at Egypt, Kemet, and Kush, Sudan, they were one people. They were an empire. Right now, they are fighting. And you hear that Africans are being mistreated. Like you find Sudan, they're fighting. You see, we hear South Sudan. What of North Sudan? Why are we not talking about it? What people are in North Sudan? When you hear that people in Egypt, you hear that African migrants, African refugees are being mistreated in Egypt. Egypt is an African country.
Right.
Egypt is an African country. Why are Africans? It's like saying you're being mistreated in your own home. Who is the mistreating? Who are they? These are the questions we need to start asking, and we need to start naming people by their rightful names. We need to stop protecting the culprits. We need to start, instead of saying so and so was raped, we need to say so and so raped this person. That way, you also focus on the culprit, because you're hiding the culprit too much. It is time to start naming and shaming them. And when we name and shame them, we will know that our problem is not with each other. We will see that we are being played by someone that is benefiting from our problems. I give thanks. Vudum.
Voodoo, rise up, Sister Sheila, as always, you know, so on point in terms of giving us some steering and direction as to how we go forward. Let's start naming and shaming the culprits. Where we know who's causing the problems, we name and shame them. Let's go over to Queen Najah for some opening remarks. My sis, rise up and welcome.
Thank you very much. I'll go straight into it. You know what? I love Sister Sheila Chebet because she is not polite. She's not polite when it comes to naming the truth. She just gets right into it. And it's up to you to decide whether you're going to listen to it or whether you're not going to listen to it. Now, she's already opened the gate that I was wondering how to open, and she's opened it. So I'm going in there, okay? It's open, so now I'm going in there. One of the issues that we have in Egypt is that we are refusing to look at it head on. They say they don't have this thing called racism, but they do. And it is nasty in Egypt. And the ones who say that there is no racism are the non-Africans. Those are the ones that have come off the continent of Africa. The ones that in our country, in my country, Kenya, I call them for what they are. They're colonialists. They came from somewhere else and they colonized us. So the same thing has happened in Egypt. But the thing is this. Egypt is like the last stand. If we do not say that Egypt belongs to Africa, the colonialists are going to keep insisting that it belongs to them. Do you understand what I'm saying? And therefore, we have to say, listen, the problem here is not just racism, the problem is colonialism. And the colonialists have refused to leave. They've been there for a long time, yes. They've been there for longer than they have been in other areas of Africa because they came down. I think, Abraham, you know the history very well of Egypt. And the British, they came down into Kemet at the turn of the 1st century. So they have been there for about 2,000 years. But the fact is that they are still colonialists. And the problem, again, is that they call Black people derogatory names. And when I say derogatory, one of the names that they call Black people, they call us, for example, is Kushi. Now, what is Kushi? Kushi is Kushite. What is Kushite? Kushite is from Kush. Who is a Kush? A Black person. And those are the original Black people of where? Of Africa. So what I think we need to do is to accept this and say, okay, fine, since I am Kushi, since I am Black, since I am African, what are you doing here? And now let's start talking about this face to face. Let's not hide it. Let's call it for what it is. And that is the reason why you find that there are so many human rights issues. Because the human rights issues, you know, they keep saying there are no human rights issues, there are no human, of course they are. There are no human rights issues among the colonialists, but there are human rights issues among who? The way the colonialists treat who? The Africans.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Rise up, Queen. Thank you for those opening remarks. And, you've gone right into the gates there to identify the problem, and today quite clearly, the north of Africa has been taken over by the Arabs. As you said, they came in about 2,000 years ago. I think the Arabs came in even before that, and they conquered that part of Africa, and they're still there until today. The Arabs, the Greeks, and the Europeans mixed together, and they're the ones of a slightly lighter hue who have a particular religion. They call, the Muslim religion, and they are seeking to gain more territory in the northern part of Africa to the detriment of us as a people. It's as if, you allow people to come into your home to live with you and live amongst you, and then they turn around and want to enslave you, want to rape your children, want to abuse you, want to take advantage of you in your own house. And it's been going on for so long. They're trying to present this narrative as if, North Africa doesn't belong to Africa. And you're right, we need to reclaim, that part of Africa. And if these people don't know how to behave themselves and conduct themselves appropriately in our country, then they need to be looking to leave our country. Let's go to the chat very briefly and see what sort of comments we've got in there. So Obadiah is saying they have penetrated to the center, to be fair, at least, their ideas. That's right. Through the Muslim religion, they've managed to penetrate well into Africa, and as we know, conquerors have a history of using their religion to conquer the minds of people and therefore the lands of people. And so we do have a serious situation there. We've got, this is Jojo saying, preach it, preach that, while someone was talking there. And another comment saying that the Arabs do not respect talking sister. They do not respect talking sister. There is nothing to talk about when there is occupation. So they're quite clearly identifying the situation as an occupation. This comment is saying Egypt must be reconquered. Everything else is irrelevant. Time we took back Egypt. Yes, indeed, I would absolutely agree with that. If some invaders came in and took over the UK, I can assure you that the UK would not stop fighting until they took back what they call their land. It may not be their land originally, but they've claimed it, and they would be fighting for it. So they're saying here, Egypt is conquered territory. This is when Sister Sheila was talking. Casey is saying, yes, Sister Sheila, I love how you put your points. Yes, we all do, Sister Sheila. And Sharon is saying, Egypt may be in Africa, but the ruling class are Arabs first. I understand people of African descent are given their own island of Nubia. Really? Okay, let's go into the topic a bit more now, and go. Dr. Abu, do you want to come in before we go over to Brother Abraham?
Yeah. First of all, rise up each and every one for the comments, and I want to send out some healing vibration to our Empress in the hospital, Sister Sasha. And Sunday, so we have to send out that, and just send out some healing vibration to the family, because a lot of people is using it as a money-making carnival, but we have to be careful how we're pimping the situation of our dear beloved sister, Sister Shanice, every morning I wake up, I give thanks that I belongs to a nation that gives civilization to the world. Every morning I wake up, I give thanks that all of these parasites owe me. I owe them nothing. Every morning I get up, I know that I'm looking at my treasures around with these parasites on it. Every morning I wake up and I look at my cattle. I look at the ticks, the parasite that's on them, and I find a solution how to get away from them. You understand? We have to be real. We're talking to these people them as if we have begged them something. We ain't begging you anything. The whole education that African go through is to tell lie for white people. The whole education that African go through is to support white people. The whole education that African go through is to belittle African people. As soon as we acknowledge, as I said, when I wake up in the morning, I give thanks that I am recovering from white privilege. We're all addicted to it, and some of us can hide the addiction by pretending that we are Pan-Africanists, that we are all kind of this kind of things. But what we are doing, we are hiding the addiction. You have a lot of people out there who is alcoholic, but they hide it, they find way to hide it. Some of them find other way to hide their coke addiction. And a lot of African is finding ways to hide their white privilege addiction. Listen, sis. Listen, my people. I told people long time that go and read the Bible and you see their intention in Egypt. When you read it, you see European intention to enslave African people in their own land. That's why them write it and tell you all of these lies and we believe it. And know when reality hit us. The reality is hitting us. And before we get up and take up arms, we want to get down on our knee and ask the same one who put us in this predicament. You know, I belongs to a nation who gives civilization to the world. And I am not ashamed of who I am. Voodoo.
Voodoo, rise up, Dr. Abu. Yes, indeed. And we all ought to wake up in the morning recognizing the fact and celebrating the fact that we are the ones who gave civilization to the world. And, you know, that's how we are and how we conducted ourselves back in the days when we came across the heathens, when we came across the uncivilized, when we came across those who were, you know, in their dark ages. What did we do? We brought enlightenment. We brought civilization. We showed them how to bath, how to wash, how to clean up, you know, their diseases and their sicknesses, because that's how we roll. We built their countries. Look at when we were in Spain, built paved sidewalks, buildings, palaces. We brought universities. We brought enlightenment, you know, to that part of the world. And that's what we do. But what we have seen in the reverse is that when these people come to our lands, they conquer, they rape, they pillage, they subdue, they enslave, you know, and it's a terrible state of affairs, you know, to have to live in those sort of conditions. And what's not talked about, I mean, we often talk about European enslavement, those bitter 400, almost 500 years of enslavement. But prior to the European enslavement was, of course, about 1400 years of Arab enslavement. The Arabs enslaved Africans for about us as Africans for about 1400 years. And that is a little less known and a little less talked about period of enslavement. And today, the Arabs are continuing to enslave members of our African family. Let's go over to Brother Abraham to give us some first-hand account from his organization's work about what's going on in Egypt. You know, again, you know, maybe there's not enough said or not enough spotlight on what's happening there. Brother Abraham.
Oh, yeah, thank you so much once again, and thank you, Doctor. You hit the nail at the right spot, and I just want to start by saying that our problem actually is leadership. You know, in Africa, we lack leadership. And that's why we had to flee our country in the first place, because we had a problem with the North, with the Northern Sudanese, because of the religion and the mistreatment of them toward us, even though they're black people just like us, but they were being brainwashed by other groups that if you're not Muslim or if you don't do certain things, you don't belong in this place. So that's why we had to leave our country. And we were settled in Egypt. It's just a lot of people went through a lot of hardship because they would come and, you know, burn the villages and then because we're not Christian or we're not Muslims. So at that time, the majority of the people that live in South Sudan, they were Christians. So they're trying to basically idolize Islamic as the main religion in the whole country. And some of us disagree because we're not getting a lot of development. We're not getting enough schools and hospitals. So basically just we treat it like a second-class citizen. And that's why the whole thing started from there. And a lot of people lost their life just fighting for my people. You know, even some of my families, they lost their life just trying to protect, you know, the true identity of Africans. And thanks God that we had our independence. We split. So now there's two countries, Sudan and South Sudan. And based on that incident, the split, some people already left the country, you know, and we migrated to Egypt. Some people went to Kenya, Uganda, and Ethiopia, you know, and still the country is not safe for all of us to come back, you know, because we're still having a problem within ourselves, tribal issues, you know, that we haven't really sat together to look at the big picture, that this is so easy for the enemy to comes in and actually cause more harm to us because we're not together. And I'm not letting my government lose because they lack leadership and responsibility to the people of South Sudanese all over where they are, you know, because it took the government 3 weeks, the embassy, just to release a statement about what happened. And the things that have been happening in Egypt has been happening for the past 20 plus years. You know, a lot of people died, lost their life. And even Egyptian people, like, you know, the light Egyptian, they claim they're Egyptian, but they don't claim they're Africans. They claim they're Arab. And that's what the problem started. And they look at us as like we monkeys, like we're not even a complete human being, you know, and that's why we get mistreated in the street. You know, I remember when I was in Egypt, I had to fight literally every day. Every day I walk out the house, you know, my mother would tell me, just be careful and come home. But I have to put on a different personality every time I go outside because I have to show that I'm tough. Because if I'm not, I will be beaten every day. So I fought so many fights, I can literally I can't even count. You know, some of my friends got stabbed, you know, with a knife. And Egyptian people just watch. One thing about Egyptian people, they will support each other. Even though they're wrong, even the old and the young, they all the same. You know, and people just, we don't have jobs. There's no school system. There is a school system, but there is no funding. You know, and you have literally 3.2 million refugees living in Egypt. There's not enough budget to take care of these people. You know, even though United Nations send money to Egypt for hosting refugees, and Egyptians just pocket the money and treat us like animals. You know, so I put the blame on two people, actually three people. The United Nations for not following up with the mission, because actually it just is a joke. The United Nations is a joke everywhere in Africa. They have their own purpose and their own agenda. And second of all, I blame the Egyptian government because they really don't see us as just a human being or brothers and sisters, because they don't claim like they're Africans. And lastly, I blame the South Sudanese government for not sticking up for our people, you know, and that's a huge problem even back home, because some people feel like they don't even belong in South Sudan because the government actually have a differential treatment for certain tribes, you know. And my heart goes out to the people in Egypt because they have no voice. They cry, and they went to a protest in 2011 or 2009. They went to the United Nations to complain about their issues, and they stood there for like couple of weeks camping outside with the kids, and the images are so bad, and literally 20 people died. You know, the Egyptian people came with the military, basically, you know, what they call spray them with water and kicking the women. They gotta leave. So there was no solution. There was no accountability when these people died, you know. And that's not only it. People die every day, as far as like just getting attacked in the street, or there's no law actually protecting any crime against refugees. Because if you notice, refugees people, they're already going through a lot, leaving their country. You know, we left our country with only the clothes that we have. in our back. You know, we left everything back home. So we came to Egypt so they can protect us, you know, until we get a solution in our country and we go back. But they failed to do that. They failed that since the beginning, you know, and they just ignored it the whole time. Every time incident happened, they just brush it. They come and take pictures and say, hey, we're all brothers and sisters from the top level, and it dies. And literally, was it yesterday? People went to the United Nations office in Egypt, and they did a protest right now. I looked at the video like earlier. Literally hundreds of people line up trying to figure out what's the solution. Are you going to keep us here until when? You know, because they literally, the United Nations failed their mission in Egypt. And I've been working with the case that actually went viral. That's why I reached out to Sister Shanice about it, because we need to get this out there so people can see like how terrible or how just horrific this crime is. There was there are four of them, four Sudanese kids. They went to a birthday party in a city called Ain Shams. So the birthday party finished like around 11, and that was during Ramadan. And so the auntie told them, hey, you guys can't leave, it's too late. Sleep here and leave in the morning. So the kids left in the morning. They trying to go home. So they got on this, they call it tuk-tuk. It's like a motorcycle that can take about 4 people. So literally the Egyptian thugs came in and stopped that motorcycle and kidnapped those kids. They kidnapped the girls and literally pushed the boy away. They took the girls to a disclosed location and literally kept them like literally for 3 hours, and they raped the girls. The girls are ages 14 and 16, you know, and they were gang of thugs. And not only that, even the mother of the Egyptian thugs was involved in the case. She shaved the girls' hair, you know, and the girls were just naked in an apartment, and it literally broke my heart. I didn't sleep for like a week, you know, and the boy was fighting, trying to find his sisters. And by the time he found out where his sister was, they snatched the boy to the apartment, and they beat him. They burned him with a cigarette lighter, literally all over his body, and they beat him with a metal, and they made him wash dishes. And all this was recorded. They were slapping him left and right. He was making him call himself names like I'm useless or I'm nothing. You know, basically downgrade this young boy, and he's only 14 years old. And they posted the video on TikTok. That's how this thing came about, and a lot of people was just outraged about it. Even BBC Arabic, they wrote an article about it. A lot of people picked up the news, and it just went viral. And I was like, this has got to stop. You know, this is enough. You know, people suffer enough. A lot of people died in Egypt. You know, and not only that, there's a lot of rape cases that not even being reported to the media because the victim are so scared that once it's been reported and their name is being shown on a statement, the Egyptian thugs can come to your house. Literally, people are scared every day when they go home and lock their door. Because Egyptian literally can come to your house, break into your door, beat everybody, and leave. Nothing would happen to them. Literally nothing. And it just, this story broke a lot of South Sudanese heart, because we came from Egypt. We literally almost 1 million, probably 100,000 of us came through Egypt. So we know the pain that our brothers are facing. And it's not only Sudanese. You know, there's a lot of Congolese, there's a lot of Ethiopians, you know, there's a lot of so many African people. So the UN closes doors. They don't actually send people out to like America, Canada, or Australia because of the immigrations issues. And that's why you see these problems. People start going to Libya. They're trying to cross the oceans or the seas just to get to Italy. And I know some of my friends that went to Israel, and some of them got shot on the way. They just, because they had enough. There's no solution to them. If they go back home, they're gonna die. There's no future back home. So the problems is leadership in Africa. You know, as we can all amount to it. There's a lot of corruption, of course, in Africa, but the refugees need to be protected, whatever they are. And the blame should be put on the Egyptian government, the United Nations, and also to the South Sudanese government for not stepping up to the plate. And what my organization have done so far is we wrote a letter to the UN commissioner. We sent it to him, basically condemning the act of negligence and abuse of refugees. People actually violate the United Nations laws and regulations. And I know it's going to take them a minute to do anything about it because they really don't care about Africans' affairs in the first place. And we also wrote a petition, and there's almost about close to 5,000 signatures condemning the act of violence against refugees in Egypt. And so far, the case is still pending for trial. They arrested all the people that actually caused the crime. Only one person is missing, which is the guy that actually was beating the boy. And that was it. Because of the Ramadan, they haven't done so much in the case. And right now, we're just waiting for the trial date. But the case is not only for this young boy and his cousins. The case is like for all the refugees that something has to happen to end this violence against our people. And not only in Egypt, but this is a call for help to all the people in Libya. There's people being slaved in Libya, you know? Honestly, slaving people, making them do things that, and they pray just to go back. They don't even want to go to Italy or UK anymore. They just want to go back home, but they can't because they're being held against their will. And it's just, I hope something should be done quickly. If it's not, there's going to be more crisis coming up.
Thank you, Brother Abraham, for sharing with us. You know, we can hear how painful it is, you know, for you to have to tell us about these awful, tragic incidences that is happening in Egypt. The extent of the inhumanity, you know, amongst them Arabs as a people is unbelievable, you know, and let's never forget, especially those who are just joining the chat. You know, we were talking earlier about the fact that Egypt is an occupied land. Egypt is part of Africa. We're talking about Africans on their own continent being treated and being abused and tortured by people who have come from outside and now occupying that part of the globe. You know, I noticed someone in the chat saying things like, well, why are they leaving their own country? Why don't they go back to their own country, kind of thing? Hello, you know, Egypt is Africa. Yet they are on their own continent, you know, because in the Berlin conference, they divided up Africa like a cake, you know, but prior to that, we didn't recognize the borders. You know, we had empires and kingdoms that stretched from one end of, the continent or across from east to west or north to south. You know, we are a people who I don't think we should recognize those borders at all. Egypt needs to recognize that they are in Africa. You know, what are the solutions? What are the solutions to this problem? Let's go around the room, and then we'll also go to the chat and hear what people are saying that the solutions to the problem should be. Okay, go over to Sister Sheila. Rise up, Sister Sheila. You've heard from Abraham. What are your thoughts in terms of the solutions to this dreadful, dreadful problem?
I have many solutions. One solution is the only way for any solution is to know what the problem is. So you have to know the scope of the problem, because once you know the problem, you will know how to solve it. So based on what Brother Abraham said, there are many things that he raised that I would like to comment on them. And as I comment on them, I will be talking of the solutions. One thing, Brother Abraham has been referring to these people as Egyptians. They are not Egyptians. Those are not Egyptians. Those are imposters. Those are colonialists. Those are people that should not be going by that name, Egyptian. And I'm reminded so-called Afrikaans in South Africa. The Boers, the Dutch, the people that brought apartheid in South Africa, they now have said we call them as Afrikaans, a name that goes with a K, a name that goes very similar to Africa. they are not that. These are colonialists, same as those people we call Egyptians. Those are not Egyptians. Egyptians are Africans. They are melaninated people. So those are imposters there. We need to call people by their right name. Maya Angelou said, when people show you who they are the first time, believe them. Ever since the Arabs mixed with us, ever since we set eyes on them, those people showed us who they are. The Arabs, the Caucasian, those pale melanated race, they are all very, very interesting people. They're anti-nature people. They are people that whenever they go to a place, they destroy it. And can be evidenced everywhere. So they came to Africa and they destroyed it. The Arabs have not only been in North Africa, they've been in everywhere in Africa. They were there before the Europeans came. And when they came, the Arabs, they did so much damage to us as a people. These are not our friends. So one solution we need to know is to know that people are who they show us they are. We cannot go to them for solutions. That way, we cannot be writing letters to them. We cannot be going for protests. We cannot be negotiating with them. We cannot be doing any of these things. We cannot be negotiating with them and say, treat us well. They have never treated us well in the beginning. They will not treat us well now, even if we went and undressed and stood out and beat all the drums we want to beat and did everything. They are incapable of showing that level of empathy or level of humanity, because I don't actually think there is humanity in them in the first place. Sometimes we have to go to the origin of people. Where did these people come from? Where? Because if you know a snake bites, you'll not be so shocked if a snake bites, is it? You will know a snake bites. And if you're an animal that can be bitten by a snake, you will not be going to the snake to say, please don't bite. Your snake, your is poisonous. You will know a snake bites, and a snake shouldn't be anywhere near me. So part of the solution is knowing where people come from and knowing what it is they come with. Because some of these prolificities they come with is their nature. So for us, as African people, as melaninated people, as people of nature, we cannot go and start looking for solutions with people that are anti-nature. We cannot. It cannot work. It is like going to a snake and saying, don't bite, don't remove your poison. A snake is supposed to bite. So you don't go there negotiating with a snake. They say the definition of madness is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And this is where we Africans fail. We are going to the same oppressors for solutions. We are waiting to be saved by people that are benefiting from our own pain. We are going to discuss about high frequency things, like humanity, like empathy, to people that have never had this. People that do not even know what empathy is. They do not have it. It is not part and parcel of their nature. It is not there. As Brother Abraham says, that these people don't care for us. Solution cannot come from them. Solution, they are the problem. United Nations is run by these same people. And I'm using the word people very, very liberally, because I don't want to use other names, because probably the show may be taken down. So I am using the word people very liberally. UN is part and parcel of the problem. UN is part and parcel that stands there to uphold the system that marginalizes the Black people. UN is part and parcel of the problem. As Dr. Abu has said here, that the education system that is there to promote white supremacists and to oppress the African. UN is part and parcel of this problem. UN is not our solution. And what we have to know as Africans, why I'm speaking with this passion, because this is not a problem of Egypt. These people, one thing they have shown us is that once they conquer one place, they conquer everywhere. And these people are against the African people. African, my brothers and sisters, listen to us. You do not go to these people for solutions. There is nothing like we are one. The word like we are one comes from the African. We, the Africans, are notorious for saying we are one with people that don't see us as one. With people that consistently and unapologetically have always been putting us down. From the time they interacted with us, they have always oppressed us. They have subjugated us. They have treated us like dirt. And then we are here saying we are one. It is time for us as an African people to say, you know what? We are hurting. We are the ones crying. As Abraham has said, Brother Abraham has said, these were children. They were coming from Ramadan. You would think this being a Muslim country by itself, having an African country that's predominantly Muslim, we had African spirituality, you know? Some of these things that are brought in by the oppressors are ways in which they come to take us away from ourselves so that we become very malleable to be oppressed. So another solution is that we have to go back to our ways. We have to go back to our spirituality. Our spirituality was high frequency. We are now in low frequency, and that is why it is so easy to oppress us. That is why it is so easy for us to fight amongst ourselves, and that is why it is so easy for us to go to our enemies and beg for solutions in our own country. It is because we've walked away from our spirituality, and now we are doing these fake religions that are geared towards putting us down, religions that people can come from a holy month and go and kill and do all these kind of things, because I'm sure those Egyptians that were oppressing these children who are in this tuk-tuk. Abraham, I know what tuk-tuk is. We have them in Kenya. So these people that were oppressing, they were coming from the holy month themselves. You'll find that during that month, these imposters in our land were all holy and all this kind of thing. Then they finish that and they come and they do this and then they get away with it. Now you hear the justice system, which we really should not even pay heed to it, is not doing anything. The justice system in itself does not do anything for rape. Because according to the Muslim law that is in Egypt, it says if any woman is raped, as long as the rapist pays a fine or marries the victim, the case is finished. In addition to that, the judge has amnesty. He can decide there's no case here. You know, they can also say it was not rape, it was consent. So if we want solutions, we have to know solutions have to be Africans. And we have to know that we are the people that built pyramids. We are the people that civilized the world. We are the people that brought all this greatness and created all these things in the world. We have to tap into that greatness. We have to go back into that spirituality, to that level we were. And to go there is an individual decision. It's an individual journey. So this is whereby each of us at the individual level, we have to start working, and we have to know we are at war, and we have to know there is no solution we can get by taking things that came with the oppressor. The solution has to come from within, and that is by us going back to the people that we were. That is us going back to history, what we call Sankofa, going back. Then we will end up knowing who we are, and we'll end up knowing who the enemies are, and the solutions will come very easily to us. I give thanks.
Wow. Sister Sheila, as always, you know, I just love to hear you talk. And you've got a following in the audience as well. They're saying, oh my days, how can I follow this sister who's talking? Where can I hear from Sister Sheila? Sister Sheila, do you have your own platform? Is there anywhere that, you know, our followers can, our audience can follow you?
Yes, I've got my own platform. I run my own school. However, because of Zuckerberg and his jail terms, I'm very particular in what I say there. So, but if they follow me, they can follow me in Gene Coaching School. That is GENE Coaching School. Or they can follow me on Sheila Chebet, as my names are here, as they appear on the screen, on Sheila Chebet on Facebook. However, if they want this kind of passionate involvement, when you come and meet me on Facebook, we will take it to WhatsApp. If we speak it out there at Zuckerberg streets, we have seen what has happened to Sasha. We have seen what's happening to our people. So we don't fear these things, but we buy ourselves time. So we look for where we can buy time. So, but Sheila Chebet on Facebook or Gene Coaching School. You're very welcome.
Put the links in the chat, please, my sis. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. I will.
Yeah, so people can copy it and get the correct spelling. Rise up, Sister Sheila. You know, I was just hanging there on your every word. And yeah, will a leopard ever change its spots? Why are we going to the same people who oppress us, the same people who enslaved us, supposedly to solve our problems? We have got to be the solutions to our problems. Absolutely agree. And, you know, all of what you were saying there about how, you know, their religion and our lack of spirituality has been used, you know, because I often wonder, why are we so, you know, submissive and so, you know, it's the religion makes it so. Let's go over to Queen Najah, who, you know, Queen Najah, you know, this system that has been imposed upon us, you know, this is the same system that isn't ours, that doesn't work for us, that we're supposed to use to get justice. You know, how do we really go forward during these times as the people, my sis? What say you? Queen Najah? Looks as though our system may have just frozen. Sorry about that. We will come back to our sister Najah. Let's go over to Dr. Abu. Dr. Abu.
Yeah, man. Give thanks, Sister Sheila. Yeah, man. Fire them, yes. It's a serious thing, you know. You know, we are under attack from the tribe of Abraham. You understand?
Yes.
You know, a lot of people don't want to see it that way. They might tell you about the 12 tribe of Judah, but they never tell you about the 3 tribe of Abraham. Christianity, Muslim, and Judaism. You know, this is what we are under. If you take off the clothes of the man in Egypt and the man in Tel Aviv, they look the damn same. You understand? We don't gonna fool ourselves and we won't talk it for what it is. You know, see, white terrorism, European terrorism is threatening the world. European terrorism is what unleashed in Africa. You know, sometimes they disguise themselves as tourism, but it's terrorism, blood. You know, see it. And anytime those things become the main benefactor in your country, you're in serious trouble. You understand? Because you find that even the tourists have more right than even the citizen. That's white people behavior. That's the European behavior, blood. You understand? And Sister Sheila is right. How can we go to them for a solution when they are the problem? Eh? How can we go to a certain set of people who don't even know if my man or a bloody woman can have problem with him gender? You understand? You know? And we are run to them for the alternative way when we have the right way. You know? It's full time we realize. You understand? That is, we got to solve our own problem. And if we look at it, if we look at the whole thing that is going on, it shows you that the Arabs, the European, and all of those, they hate women. It's a hate. All of these things where you see are going on, you know. Because when you hurt a child, man or woman, you're touching the belly of the woman. You understand, you know? So all of these things is to bring hardship and pain upon the African woman. But sometimes we divert it and we call it all kind of different name. But the whole thing about it, the woman is the representation of this planet Earth. And certain European doesn't like it. Certain Arab doesn't like it. Certain set of people doesn't like it. But what must be, must be. And it's only we can stand up and say that's how it is. Instead of imagine, we have to pass European tests to even be somebody to do it. Eh? When was the last time we take an African test to be ourselves? And this is where we are. And if we don't change this way that we're going, then I'm telling you, as Marcus Garvey said, organize or perish, blood. Simple as that. Organize or perish, you know. And rise up to Brother Abraham, because Brother Deng, who died in the plane crash, was a good friend of mine here. You understand? That went back to South Sudan, and they take him out. All of these plane crashes and all of these crashes, you know, see, it's taken out. As I said, you know, a lot of people think that I'm crazy. I'm saying African people is living an everyday life of horror under the hands of European and those hidden hands that the European is paying other African to oppress their own people. That's how I see it. And I apologize to no one, blood. Not one. Because what I'm saying is true. Voodoo.
Voodoo, true words indeed, Dr. Abu, rise up yourself, again, echoing the sentiments there. How can we go, to those who have enslaved us, and abuse us? Wow. To be the solution to our problems. I was going to go over to our sister Najir there, but unfortunately we've lost her. So let's go back to Brother Abraham. Brother Abraham, you've heard some of the initial comments. Let me allow you to come back, and then I'll go to the chat and see what our family, our audience in the chat are saying as well.
Oh yeah, those are Sister Sheila. She said it like the way it is. And even our brother, Dr. He mentioned nothing but the truth, and that's what I'm not putting the blame on anybody. I put the blame on us. Together. The help is coming, it's not coming from anywhere, because we don't have any enemy. So I feel like they influence us, fight each other. To know who's the real enemy. Because we thinking the enemy is outside, the enemy is us. So we need to do a lot of help and just talk to each other. Let's end it. And that's why in all the African, there's a lot of tribal issues that have been influenced by promote other people to fight my own kind. So I feel like this issue is bigger than me, and it's bigger than South Sudanese. This is the African everywhere. And I just hope that if they're listening everywhere, that we need to come to ourselves. Like Sheila said, we need to go back. We need to go back, way back, the way we were doing things. Not to also let white people decide, or any foreigners decided our goals or the way we live our life. I feel like we've been transformed. I feel like my life changed. I've been moving from country to country, losing part of my tradition and heritage. I belong to a tribe. We have some tradition. I feel like everywhere that tradition loses its value little by little because of rules and regulation of that country. So there's certain things so I become somebody. So I feel like as an actor, I need to go back.
We're going to have to come back to you, my brother Abraham. Your line is cutting in and out. And so, we're having to try and get the gist of what you're saying. But at the moment, we're getting every other word. So, apologies. But I don't know what you can do, if you can move slightly or something. But we're getting interference. Let's come back to our brother in a short while. It looks as though he's going to log out and log back in again. Sister Najir, thanks for coming back. You froze on us. I know you were trying to talk, but we were unable to hear you. But you are back now, my sis. The floor is yours.
Greetings, everybody. Sorry about that. I don't even know what happened. So what I wanted to say is that education is so important. One of the things that I realize is that a lot of us do not know, because of the propaganda from the colonialists, that Egypt is African. The truth is that a lot of people think that Egypt belongs to the colonialists. A lot of people believe that. And this is partly therefore, Dr. Abu, when you say about their education, it's true. Marcus Garvey said it. Okay, we have been so miseducated. Therefore, it's up to us. It is up to us now to start re-educating our children and ourselves. We can't sit around and continue listening to their nonsense. You know, Ibrahim keeps talking about this thing about the Muslims and the Christians and the Arabs and this and that. The truth is this, what Sheila said is true. We need to get away from these foreign religions. These are ideologies. Do you understand what an ideology is? This is something which they come and they say, you have to follow this, and you don't follow your own African spirituality. Therefore, we need to go back into educating our children, number one. Number two, we need to educate ourselves. Number three, we need to tell everybody that this is our problem. And when I say everybody, I'm talking about if you have this color, if you're melanated, we're not going to talk here about religions. We're going to talk about this color. It doesn't matter where you are. You have to get up off your seat. You have to get up. And you have to make noise on whatever platform you have about your own people wherever they are. You see, like how Sister Shanice is doing it on this show? Because there are people who do not have voices. For example, how come there is no Black Egyptian on this show? So we have to, the ones of us who have that ability to make noise, we have to do what is called activate. And by activating, it means that we have to go and teach and tell people, listen, this is the way it is. There's a problem here. There's a colonial issue here. Yes, it's been here for a long time. Yes, there's been slavery for a long time. That doesn't mean that it's right. And I think it's time for things to change.
Absolutely.
So we need to start educating. And I give a lot of thanks to Sheila, because with her gene coaching school, she teaches about melanation. There are other people out there who do the same thing. We need to understand Africa is for Africans. Egypt, Libya, Algeria, all these countries, Tunisia, all these countries are African, and they're for African people, and it's on the African continent. So we need to start educating this over and over again. And we're not going to do that by going to the UN and saying, oh, can you please introduce a subject called African Studies? No, they're not going to do it. So we have to do it. We have to do it as an underground movement. However we do it, but we can do it. And, you know, Sheila said, yes, there are some places where you can't say these things. You can't talk these things because Zuckerberg will shut you down and so and so. Listen, our brothers and sisters in the Americas, they fought for themselves for 500 years. And today we know about the fight that they went through. They didn't even have Zuckerberg. And yet, they taught their children. So how come we're not teaching our children? And we have so many ways to do so. We are so intelligent. And yet we sit there and then we say, oh, can our government do this for us? Oh, can somebody do this? What the hell is going on here? I'm sorry. What we need to do is we need to teach our children first. We need to teach our neighbors second. The person next to you. You know, the pastors keep saying this, so I'm going to use it, okay? Can you turn around to the person on your right-hand side, touch them and say that you are Black? Can you turn around to the person on your left side and touch them and say that I am black, so I need to tell everybody that I'm African, and those people in Egypt are Africans, those people in Israel are Africans, those people in Tunisia are Africans, and we need to go together and start freeing those people and activating them.
Mm-hmm.
So this nonsense stops, and it has to stop in the next 5 years. It has to stop now, so that we don't get these things which are happening. Because, I was listening to that story and the brother was talking, and I was like, you know what? If this was Kenya, those people would be not alive right now. Okay, they wouldn't be, because we who has heard about the Mau Mau? We rose up against our colonialists and told them, get out. I mean, we got so mad and we said, get out, because they were doing the same injustices. And this is why I say we can't use religion, because the injustices which were being done were the exact same injustices, and they were using the Bible and Christianity. You go over to the United States of America, and what were they using? They were using the same Bible. And saying that they were saying you have to be your Lord and Master because God says so. So it's not a matter of religion, and that's what I was saying. Religion is their ideology. It's not our spirituality. And when we start saying, oh, it is religion, we start looking in the wrong place. We are not identifying the issue. What is the issue? The issue is the colonialism. And they need to go. And the other issue is education. We need to tell our people who they are. And we need to tell them that everybody in Africa is an African. Anyone who doesn't have this skin color is not African, so they can go back to where they came from. Okay, I'm done.
Rise up, sis. Absolutely agree with what you're saying there. Yes, indeed. It's time for action and it's time for change. And we have got to be at the forefront of bringing about that change. We have got to be the ones that are introducing an African-centered curriculum. We are the ones who are going to have to be the solution to our problems. To think that we could go to our oppressors, our colonizers, with those in whose interest it is that we remain, subdued and oppressed, for a solution to our problems. We need to wake up very fast indeed if we think that, that going there to them is going to bring about any changes. I think for too long we have been hoodwinked as a people. We have been brainwashed. Our minds has been, colonized with the idea that these people are there to save us. So they're there to represent our interests. So they're there to take care of us politically, educationally, socially, culturally, militarily. We have been brainwashed into believing, that they have our interests at heart, even though their actions, from police officers on the street to so-called private armies on our streets and, as politicians or as the ones who are influencing our politicians, despite all of the evidence, of the brutality that has been meted out on us for hundreds of years. It seems we're just coming to the realization that these people do not have our interest at heart, never have done, never will. It's not in their nature, as Sister Sheila was saying, for them to show any humanity towards us. It's like asking a leopard to change its spots. It's just not going to happen. So it's down to us as a people to take the action that needs to be taken to bring about the changes that we want to see. Yeah, the colonial so-called democratic systems were imposed upon us. These are not the sort of structures that are structures that we need as Africans. As we have seen, these are the sort of structures that just suit the needs of our former colonizers, because they can control Africa, they can control our countries, they can control our continents through these so-called democratic structures. We need to get rid of those democratic structures. We need to get rid of, all those puppet governments. We need a new structure. We need a new education system. We need to be doing for self. We have got our work cut out and we can do it. We've got the skills. We were doing quite fine all by ourselves prior to the invasion of the Europeans and the Arabs, we were doing quite fine. Yeah, and they've used our differences to divide us. Well, now we need to start using our differences to unite us, because if there's one thing we all have in common, it's the fact that we are all Africans and we are all suffering the same plight. If not today, then tomorrow. And you know, our testimony as Caribbeans has been that we have had to fight, as has been said. If our revolutionary freedom fighters rise up, Bookman, Dottie, Paul Bogle, Sam Sharp, Namni of the Maroons, Marcus Messiah Garvey, all of them, had they decided that they were not going to fight, we would still be on the plantations as slaves today. Hey, you know, they didn't give up. They didn't relinquish our enslavement willingly. They were forced to. As they were forced to give up our countries in the late 50s, early 60s. But as has been said before, when we saw them leaving and we saw these revolutionary leaders raising the new African flags, we thought we'd got rid of the colonialists, but we hadn't. They just went out the front door and came back in the back door. And they continue to rule from the back door to our detriment. And they've made it absolutely clear to us by their conduct and their behavior that they have no intention of changing. If in fact, things look as though it could get a lot worse. Let's quickly go over to the chat room and see what's going on in the chat. Someone's saying we need to realize what's going on in here. So this one, George is saying, we face the same predicament globally, no matter where we are. Absolutely agree with you on that, George. There are examples of us being oppressed and abused as a people all around the globe, and it's the same system of oppression, just different place, different name. Yes, we certainly see that going on. And let's bring up a couple more. This one says we must not forget these people won't let go easily. We also need our own army. Absolutely. And that was the situation in the Caribbean when we were on the plantation estate. They didn't want to let go of the Caribbean. You know, the Caribbean islands were the jewel in their crown. You know, the Caribbean islands were the islands that were making them rich beyond measure, riches that they had never experienced prior to in their existence, you know, from the day they crawled out of the Caucasus Mountains. They'd never experienced such riches. They didn't want to let go of the Caribbean. It was when our revolutionary freedom fighters made it impossible for them to feel comfortable to sleep in their beds at night, you know, because they know so they probably wouldn't wake up. That's when they decided that they would rather run back to England rather than continue to enslave us as Africans. Because, you know, as Bookman Dutty in that famous ceremony in Haiti said and did, you know, he said, throw away the image of the white man's God, otherwise he will talk to you, you know, at a time when you need to basically be taking off his head. And that's what's been happening to us as a people. We've been raped, we've been abused, we've been you know, treated in the most horrific way as a people for centuries. Time for change, time for action, and time for change. Yes, indeed. Okay, let me go around the chat just for the last time. A couple of minutes to each of our panel members, because I think I've only got an hour and a half left of my free StreamYard, and we're almost coming to the edge of that now, and I'd like to hear a bit more from each of our guests. So let's go back over to Sister Sheila. Rise up, Sister Sheila. Let's hear a few departing words from you, my sis.
I give thanks. The departing words I start with is saying that the biggest fear that these people have is Black unity. And Black unity is a byproduct of Black love. So as long as we have that love for ourselves, that love comes with acceptance, you know, with self-acceptance, with self-awareness, with us being comfortable in our skin. Once we have that love, it starts with the love for self. But once you have that love for self, it's very easy, it's natural for you to love someone that looks like you. And when you love someone that looks like you, you have that Black love. And once you have Black love, you automatically, naturally will repel anything that is against that love, including people, situation, and places that are against that love. So my parting shot to the people listening to this, you might think like, oh my gosh, the fight is so big. How do we even start? The fight is actually not big. The fight is small, whereby all you have to do is love yourself. Love yourself so thoroughly, so deeply, so fully, so truly. That once you have that self-love, and the self-love, how you do it, you start by seeking your own joy, things that make you joyful. You'll find this education, this democracy, this politics, this religion, this whatever, they actually make you vibrate low. They actually make you not very happy. TVs and all this kind of thing. So when you have that happiness within you, when you're seeking the happiness, the black love comes. And when the black love comes, you automatically start loving people that look like you. And when you start loving people that look like you, you tap into the power that is within you. The kingdom of God is within you. And when you tap into that, automatically the armies will come. The black intelligence will be opened. The black love between the man and the woman, the black man has been made into a man-child. That is why Dr. Abu says the black woman is being attacked. She is being attacked because she's not being protected by her black man. Where is the black man? He's being called a boy. He is a boy in his crib, All this because he has lost his black love. He's lost that connection to himself. So my picture to all of you, seek that black love for yourself. It is not difficult to love yourself. Once you get that self-love, that black love, automatically you love your people. And once you love your people, these solutions will just flow naturally to us. And when they flow naturally to us, it will be game over. And for those of us that saying Egypt is Africa, we are actually giving them a very good deal, because Africa is not just that map. The Middle East is Africa. China is Africa. But right now we are just, let us remain with this land mass. Let us not cross over and go there. Let's first of all start here with the land mass that's one. But that is a good deal we're giving them. Because if we decided to go for all of it, they'll be left with Caucasus Mountain only. Thank you.
Ashe, oh. Rise up, Sister Sheila. Always a privilege to have you on the panel, bringing such colorful contributions to the debate. Rise up, my sis. Beautiful, beautiful of always. Let's bring in Queen Najah.
Hey, so my parting shot is this: education, education, education. I know it sounds difficult, but it really isn't. When you focus on something, that is where your energy will go. If you wake up in the morning and focus on sadness, that is the way that your day will go, because you'll be focusing on sadness. This is what is called the vibration. So I'm going to give a very quick lesson here. Wake up in the morning and send out the energy that you want to learn about yourself as a Black person. And that energy will come back to you. It'll come back to you that day and the next day and the next day and the next day. And once you know who you are as a Black person, what will happen is that your vibration will immediately begin rising. And when your vibration begins to rise, you will now be able to know how to help yourself and the person who is next to you. Because when you're on a very low vibration, you can't help other people. You're sad, you've got all these guilt emotions, you've got all this slave mentality in your mind. You're like, oh, but I can't do this and I can't do this because of those ideologies. Okay? So when you wake up in the morning, say that I want to learn about my Black self, my African self. And that energy will come back. And it will come back. It will come back to you. And you will learn and learn and learn. And when you learn, teach the next one next to you, because that's something which we don't do as Black people. We carry all this stuff around with us like misers, like, oh, this is mine. I'm not going to tell anybody else, as if it's going to kill you. No. As soon as you learn something, share it. Share it all over the place. Share it. You learn something else, share it out, give it out. Because the more you give it out, the more you'll be able to get more. And once we get what is called the critical, it's just the critical tipping point. That's all we need. You know, when you're on a seesaw, you don't need that much weight for it to tip like this. You just need a little bit. Because now, let me tell you, everyone who's been listening to this show, they know that there are Black people in Egypt and that Egypt belongs to us, true or not true. And it only took how many of us? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. That's it. So let us keep educating each other about ourselves. Let us stop focusing on them. Let us focus on ourselves and focus our energy on ourselves. That's my parting shot.
Rise up, Queen Nasha. As always, an honor to have you on the platform as well, my sis. It's beautiful. Some time back, you know, some of my audience were saying, can you get some more females on the panel? You know, because I always had them and them on there on fire, you know, and I'm like, okay, I'll put it out there. And look, family, you know, we've got these wonderful females who are on fire for the cause now joining us, you know, on the panel. So absolutely fantastic. Dr. Abu, yeah, one of our regular panelists. Yes. Few departing words from you, my brother. Oh, take yourself off mute.
What can I say more than give thanks to share this platform with beautiful family? As I said, we are the custodial owner of this place, and we have some, what them call them place, when them place where people were squat. We have some squatters, and we will find a way we deal with these bloody squatters. You understand, you know? And that's the problem that we are. We do not know how to identify squatters. We start to call them all kind of name and big them up, but that's what they are. European squatters on African territory. Voodoo Maya, give thanks.
Voodoo, Dr. Abu, absolutely agree. We need to give them the appropriate name. Yes, squatters on African land, on African territory. Rise up, Dr. Abu. Always great to have you on board as well. Let's bring our guest, Abraham, back for a few departing words.
Oh yeah, man, I'm overwhelmed with a lot of support. Honestly, I felt like you guys give me a different type of energy that I haven't had in a long time. You know, especially just being away from home and just forgot what it's like to be an African and connected to your roots and just sharing the same spirit with my brothers and sisters. And because, you know, sometimes when you've been in the system for too long, it changes you, you know, it changes who you are. Because I left my country when I was young. You know, I left when I was 9 years old. You know, but I remember some of the things that happened, but I didn't take the full energy and the full spirits, you know, but I felt like that spirit is still within me. It would never leave me, and I'm aware of that. And it just sharing this platform with you guys today, it motivated me that anything is possible.
True,
you know,
blood.
what they started from me or from anybody else is doable. Whatever these people have done to my people since back then, they're going to pay the price. They're not going to get away. You know, they may look like they're winning, but they're not winning.
They're
You know,
not.
because our ancestors, they died, they know. The energy does not lie. So this thing is going to turn around, and Black people will rule. We will get back what we lost, what they took from us. You know, it's just a matter of time. So I'm going to take this energy, I'm going to use it with my people and actually educate them as well that, like I always say, the UN has done nothing. It just, even the people that are in Egypt right now, they have done nothing for my people. So it's time for my people to rise up, and I will take that message to them with love and understanding and compassion. It might take some time, but I know the truth will always come out at the end. And I'm very thankful just to be in this space and time, and with my sister just giving me the platform. This is a blessing. This has been ordained to happen, you know, and it's not by accident. This is the true spirit that's leading us to come back. Like my sister said, we got to go way back. And this is a good start. And I just want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. And I'm forever grateful for this opportunity. And I will never forget it. One love.
One love, my brother. It's been a privilege and an honor having you on this platform. Thank you so much for coming to share. We felt your pain. We share the pain, of all of our people, wherever they are suffering. But this is a new day. It's time for action, and we are the ones who have got to be our own savior. No one's going to jump out of the sky and save us. We've got to rid ourselves of the nonsense that they wrote in the books. We are our brothers and our sisters' savior, and we've got to do what it takes to save ourselves. We found that out, hundreds of years ago when we were on the plantations in the Caribbean. It's been mentioned in the Caribbean, we are still colonized. Yes, we are, but not to the extent that we were 400 years ago. And it was as a result of the actions on the Caribbean that it kind of triggered and ignited, the revolutionary spirit across the continent. And we are igniting and calling again on that revolutionary spirit, to sweep the continent like fire. Yeah, because it's time for burn out some crosses from out of our land. Yeah, so it's time for change. And we, are the ones who are going to have to take the action. As Dr. Apu has said, to get rid of the squatters them on our land. Yeah, the squatters on our land, they have been abusing our land. They have been, what's the word for digging up our kings and queens? They have been carrying out the most heinous crimes on our kings and queens, our pharaohs, and it's time for change and it's time to stop. So I'm glad that we've got this platform where we can express our views, because for far too long, we have had to just listen to the garbage of the mainstream narrative that doesn't speak our truth. Well, our truth is that we don't want those leaders or misleaders anymore. We don't want the so-called democratic system that is oppressing us and oppressing our people wherever we are in the world. If people can't live harmoniously with us, it's time for them to find themselves back to where they came from, back from whence they came. And it's time for our people to wake up from their sleep, wake up from their slumber, wake up from these false religions and indoctrines that's saying that we must turn the other cheek while people whip us and beat us and burn us all over our body without fighting back. It's time that we found that fighting spirit, that spirit of Nanny of the Maroon, the spirit of Sam Shah, the spirit of Paul Bogle, the spirit, of our revolutionary freedom fighters. It's time we found that spirit inside of us and we started dealing with the situation at hand. Otherwise, it's going to get from bad to worse, and we're all very aware of how bad the situation can get. Okay, to everyone in the audience, I want to thank you so much for being with us throughout the last hour and a half today. We've got, 172 people watching, but only 77 likes. Come on, man, you don't have to pay for coming here. All you have to do is give us a like. Give us a little like, no? Yeah? Just give us a thumbs up. We're not charging no money, but if you want to put some money in on me PayPal, you can go and do that, because I need to get upgraded, because there's too many topics that we need to be talking about and not enough shows to be able to do it. So, family, rise up yourself, keep the fire blazing, take the messages from this platform to your communities, to your families, to your organizations. It's time for change, and we have got to be the change that we want to see. So all being well, hopefully my freebie will renew itself next strong. So we will be black right at you. I think we might be talking about what's going on in Palestine next strong. I think that might be the topic. But again, as our sister Sheila will remind us, it's the same game, just a different place and a different name. Sister Sheila, Dr. Abu, Brother Abrahams, Sister Najee, to everyone in the audience, rise up, rise up, rise up, and keep on rising. More love, more power, more voodoo. Sister Shanice out of here for now. One love, family. Peace and love.